Hi, welcome to 10 Sisters TV. I'm Carmen Geddes, and we are continuing on with our Quilted Jacket Series. I'm actually wearing my jacket that I am working on because I've sewn the shoulder seam. So I thought, oh, I'm going to put it on for the video. Isn't this going to be fun? So excited. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about making bias binding. If you want lots more information on my particular binding techniques, there is a link below this video that will take you to my machine binding class. It's all done in chapters. It's free class, and so we go over this in a little bit more detail. Lots of different ways to make bias binding, and I'm just going to show you the technique that I like, that I think works really well. And so I'm going to start out with, I didn't measure this, but basically a fat quarter. If you're new to bias binding, a fat quarter is a great size of fabric to start with. But the nice thing about this particular technique is you can do this with yardage. You can do this, you know, with your 44 wide fabric if you're making a lot more binding. And so this is just my favorite technique. So I'm going to move that cutting. So first of all, we are going to give this a little bit of starch. It can be starch, it can be best press, but binding, whether it's bias or straight grain, is just going to be so much more easy to manage if you've stabilized it with some starch. And it's my pressing board. It's time to recover this. It's really stiff, so it's kind of picking up my little starchy starches. Is that a term? Starchy starches? I think it is. So we're going to just give that a little bit of stability, and then I'm going to start with, let me turn this a little bit more. There we go. So if I'm standing in front of it, I'm going to take the left-hand corner and I'm going to bring this up. And what I want, pull this down so you can see it more clearly. Now, notice this isn't like a perfect cut, and that's all right. What I want is for this top edge to be a very healthy 1/4 inch above this line. Okay, so I'm taking that left-hand corner in front of me and folding this up, and I'm going to, I'm probably closer to 3/8 inch, so a nice healthy 1/4 inch above the line of the piece underneath. And then I'm going to give it a little stretch. Now along this line that I'm pressing, that is bias. And so we're not going to iron across this way. We're going to just press it because we don't want to stretch out that bias. And that's another thing that starch really helps with. There we go. It's kind of just giving us a reference line. And again, this can be cut with a rotary cutter, but it does not have to be perfect because we will clean this edge up after it's sewn. And so we're going to cut right along this fold line. And you're going to see that the reason we went a 1/4 inch above this line, let me move this a little bit towards the middle so you can see a little bit better. Here is our fold line that we pressed, and notice that there's that healthy 1/4 inch away from the fold line. So basically what we've done is we've given ourselves some seam allowance to sew these two pieces together. That's the reason you're going that 1/4 inch above. And so let's lay this out as we've cut it so you can see how we're going to fold these two together. So without turning anything over, we are going to just lift this piece up, bring it over, match it up with this one. Now this is a solid, and so it's I don't have a wrong or right side, really. If this had started out really nice and clean and square, they would be exactly the same length. But that's okay. Again, they don't have to be perfectly cut. So then we're going to put those right sides together. So we're going to do right sides together. Let's bring our sewing machine back around. I was saying, wouldn't this be something if this was actually my only sewing space? see what we can do in a small space. Now, because of the way we folded that, notice this gives us that nice seam allowance area right there. That's what that's for. So typically when we're piecing a quilt, we're all about that 1/4 inch seam allowance, but we don't need to worry about exactly 1/4 inch, right? Because we are just sewing these two pieces together. And so I am more width of presser foot. You know, I'll go just a little bit further. I guess I'm more towards that 3/8 inch line. Now I've got a contrasting thread here, right? So we can actually see the seam I'm sewing, but of course you would want to be sure that you're doing a matching thread to your binding. Just matching up these two, making sure, yep, got nice right sides together. So that seam all the way down, beautiful. And so then, oops, cut. All right, so now let's get this back out of the way a little bit. All right, so now here's our seam that we have sewn. And again, you know, those raw edges are together. I do like to, at this point, I like to come in and kind of set that seam. And now we're going to open this up and you'll see that we have created that parallelogram. Just makes me feel smart just saying that word. And look at all these yummy threads. It's a successful day in the sewing room when you got all these threads. So we've set that seam. Now at this point, because this is a little bit wider seam, I like to press this seam open. And again, you can give it a little bit more of some stability there. And we're going to come in with our iron. Now at this point, I don't really push down hard on the iron because it's not opening up super flat. What I'm doing here is just sort of trying to open up this seam. And I'm not pushing, you know, I'm just kind of gently resting the iron on this seam, because what I'm really interested in is making sure that it's really flat on the right side. So then I'll come back and I don't have a steam right now, but this would be, I would probably use even a little bit of steam here. But see, I'm really flattening out this seam on the right side. Beautiful, beautiful. So now we're going to look at this piece. I have it kind of spread out, but hopefully you'll be able to see it well. So we want to lay this sewn piece out so that our points are going, you know, north and south. It's coming towards us and it's away from us, because the two sides of this are bias. Okay, so that's a good way. Sometimes you can tell on the fabric, but these two outside edges are bias. So sometimes when we're looking at this, it's kind of like, oh, do I lay it this way? Do I lay it this way? The seam that we sewed is going to be going at an angle here in front of us, and you want to make sure that these two outside edges of this piece are the bias edges. Along these other two lines, those are the straight grain. So essentially a good way to tell if you've got this laid out right is that these edges will fray, right? Because those threads are woven, and that's along that straight grain. And so you see how these edges will fray, but because these two edges are bias, if you go pull along those, they are not going to fray. So that's another way to tell that you've got this lined up. And then we're going to take this, and I like to actually do this on a cutting mat, which I have right here. This is a little one, but it's going to give us the idea. And so we're going to lay this on the cutting mat, and we're going to bring this towards us, and however much you fold this over is totally up to you. You know, I probably tend to go about, 8 to 10 inches, kind of depends on how big your piece is. And so we're matching up these edges so the cutting mat kind of helps me stay straight on that, because we want it to be straight all the way across, that same width. And so if, for instance, if this is kind of like rolling it up like a jelly roll, if this is so many inches, then I want it to basically be the same over here too, because it's kind of easy to get that uneven. So now instead of rolling this way, I'm just going to fold up that bottom edge. Don't be super alarmed if these do not match up exactly. It kind of depends on the piece that you started out with. But essentially, you do want these sides to match up. If they're really off, it just means that we didn't fold this up uniformly. So just unfold it and just do it again. And so now we've got this nice little jelly roll, and we are going to cut our binding. So I'm going to make sure, there we go, make sure that that's all nice and straight. So I've got this lined up along that edge, and so I've got a couple rulers here. Now, in my binding class, I do talk about deciding how wide you're going to cut your binding strips. So check that out if you want a little more info on that. If you like to cut your bindings at 2.5 inches, how awesome if you have a ruler that's 2.5 inches, right? And so that you're just going to cut those bindings. Because I tend to sew my seams with a little bit smaller seam allowance, and I'm gonna, well, for all the reasons, I typically cut my binding at 2 3/8 inches. So I've actually got one of these little cute little tapes that you can put on rulers, and I just keep a ruler that is lined up at the 2 3/8 inch line. So even if this looks pretty darn straight, I like to just come in, maybe with a little 1/4 inch and just clean up that edge. And then however wide you're cutting your binding strips, you are going to cut out these strips, and then cut a couple of those. So after those are all cut out, one of the things I like about this technique is that when I am going to match these up right sides together, which is a little harder to tell on a solid, so obviously there's a seam, these are going to match up really nice. So one little thing I wanted to point out is when I cut my strips, I like to choose the strips that have the seam really close to the end as my beginning and ending points, just because it's less waste that way. And so we're going to take this, make sure I've got my right side. And what I mean about the way I like this technique is I know I'm choosing the right side when I match up these raw edges and overlap these two. This is how they're going to overlap, right? This is what we want. We want to overlap them so that if we don't want to do it just from point to point, because then we have no seam allowance. So you're going to give yourself a little bit of room, and we're going to sew from valley to valley. So I'm talking that valley where that little V is created. Now you can mark this if you want to, but you are going to just sew from valley to valley, and let's just sew that up so you can kind of see. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that when I am sewing my binding strips together, I like to look at my stitch length, because typically, your sewing machine will come up at a certain stitch length, or you'll have it set at a certain stitch length. When I'm sewing my binding strips together, I like to dial that length down a little bit. So I'm sewing the binding strips together with just a little bit tighter stitch length. Now, every machine is going to be different. The 2.5 stitch length on this machine might be different than the 2.5 on your machine. So, you don't want to feel like you're not moving along, but I just like to, I think it just makes a little stronger binding if I'm lowering that stitch length just a little bit. Now you can pin this if you want to. These are, again, you're going to sew this with a matching thread, which I'm not doing right now, so you can see. And so now we've sewn, let's move that back. So you see now that we've sewn that seam from valley to valley, so then what happens is when you open this up, that gives you that really nice continuous bias binding. And so again, you can decide how you want to press this. I like to press these seams open, and again, I'm not pushing really hard, I'm kind of gliding this over. A little shot of steam can help, but that laid down really well. I think that has to do with that we starched this fabric before. Then you want to make sure that on the right side, those are really nice and flattened out. And so, ta-da, now you've got some really great bias binding. I do prefer folding it in half and pressing it. Now again, this is bias, so I don't want to really iron strongly. I'm more going along, matching up those raw edges and giving this a nice press. Once again, this is a little plug for pre-starching this fabric because, you know, this has got some really nice body. It's holding really well. And there you go. So that's just my way of making my bias binding. And we're gonna get ready to bind this quilt after I put the sleeves on. So if you're new to 10 Sisters TV, check out, we have a couple links below that'll take you to our website, which is 10sisters.com, and there'll be a couple links to some other videos we'd love you to see. If you we'd love you to like the video and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.